What? Because you want to retreat. Let's see how the week plays out. It is usually better if we finish the material and done some review ahead of time. But we'll just have to see how far we get. Alright, today we'll start the last session. Okay, now we are ready for the back of page 41, letter E. And you'll recall from last time that we're trying to figure out how many triangles there are. So we'll draw a triangle and we'll fill in what we know. Now we're on letter E. So that's a 60, that's a 9, and this is a 10. And just to refresh your memories, I don't care where you put the A, B, and C, the big A, B, and C, but if that's angle A, then this has to be side A. Remember, they're lined up across from each other. Put the angles wherever you want. You can put A, B, C, it doesn't matter, wherever you put them. But make sure that you have the right sides across from the right angles, okay? The correct sides across from the correct angles. Now, who remembers how we started this? This is our 5th problem we've done like this. We set up a proportion with the law of sines. So sine 60 over 9 equals sine B over 10.
Excuse this interruption. Is Emma Johnson in the room?
She is.
Can you please send her to the front office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, what do we do next? We set up our law of sines. What do we do now? Cross multiply. So 9 sine B equals 10 sine 60. Just cross multiply, regular cross multiply. Now we are solving for right here. This is what we're solving for. So what do I need to divide by? 9. So sine B will equal 10 sine 60 divided by 9. Now, you're tempted to type this into your calculator, but don't. It's not going to give you the answer. To get the answer, remember what we have to do? Second sine. So B will be second sine 10 sine 60 over 9. You do not have to worry about any parentheses. Please do not type any parentheses except this one right here. After the 60, make sure you close that off. The calculator will do everything else for you. So here we go. Second sine, 10 sine 60, close parentheses, oops, 60. Divided by 9. I got 74.21. Anybody else get 74.21? Now, remember, I didn't even go over the directions here, but the directions were how many triangles are possible. So the answer is either 0 or 1 or 2. Now, we got an answer. Do you remember last time, sometimes it comes up error? When it comes up error, that means no solution. 0 triangles. We did not get an error, we got an answer. So now we don't know if this is the only one or if there's another one. So remember, we redraw the triangle. Jalen! What are you doing?
Checking the time.
Checking the time.
Dude, just turn.
Okay, Jalen. That's a DT. You know it's a DT. Don't get your phone out in this class. You know it. Okay. So I redraw the triangle exactly as it's given. Right? Then, if there is a second answer, if there is a second answer, it will be 180 minus the first one. So it'll be 105.79. So if there is a second answer, it's 180 minus the first one you got. So the first one we got by typing all this, right? 180 minus the first one is 105.71. Now, take a look at that. Is it possible to have a 60 and 105 in the same triangle? Yes, it is. Example, if this had been 135, that would not be possible. Do you see that? But it was 105. That is possible. So how many triangles are possible? Both of them, 2. So the answer to this question is 2. When you set up your law of sines, and you do this step right here, second sign, it's either going to be error, which means no triangles, or it's going to give you an answer. If it gives you an answer, immediately check the second answer. And how do we find the second answer? Real simple. 180 minus the first one. If that makes sense, this does not. If it makes sense, then you have 2 answers. If it doesn't make sense, then you only have 1. Right? So let me go through those steps one more time. You set up your law of sines just like always. The difference here from the other law of sines problems is you have to second sign to find the angle. You have to second sign. At this point, you're either going to get an error message, no triangles, or you're going to get an answer like we did. When you get an answer, you immediately draw a second triangle and find the second answer, which will always be 180 minus the first one. If it works, then you got 2 answers. If that one doesn't work, then this is the only answer. Okay? Let's try the last one. One more. So we got a 54, a 2, and a 9. That's the given. Just drawing a picture. All right, so here we go. Law of sines says sine 54 over 2 equals sine B over 9. So 2 sine B equals 9 sine 54. Now what do I need to divide by? We always have to divide by something. 2, because we're trying to get sine B by itself. So sine B equals this. Now we're tempted to type that in. But kids, if you type that in, it's going to give you a decimal. It is not going to give you the answer. How do you get the actual answer? Second sign. So B is second sign that. So I'll type it in. Second sign, 9 sine 54, close those parentheses, divided by 2. Oh boy. What happened?
Error.
We got an error, which means the answer to the question is 0. How many triangles are possible? It's either 0, 1, or 2. This one is 0.
If you put no solution down, would you count that wrong?
Well, it's going to be in on the test, it's going to be in a list, and you'll just put, it says put 0, 1, or 2. Okay. So just put 0. Okay. All right, so that's it for the law of sines. Okay, so guess what's up? The law of cosines. Now, I always have kids wonder, well, what do we need the law of cosines for? Because this law of sines seems to work pretty well. And you are right, it does. Let me put a triangle up here, though, and let's see what you can do with it. Let's look at 1A here. So we got a triangle. That's 58. So it's triangle PQR.
Oh, it's an SAS thing?
And it is a side angle side, which is perfectly okay in geometry, proof land, right? SAS is good. So we're not going to have any issues here. We're just going to solve it. So what would the law of sines look like? Sine 58 over P equals sine
R
over 10. Now, that is completely okay. That is right. But what? Too many variables. That's right. There's too many variables. I want you to stop and think about the work we've done with the law of sines. Hasn't it been the case every time that we've had a complete fraction, that there's only been one letter? Everything else has been numbers. And so one set we always knew. If you don't have a set, and what I mean by that is angle P and side P. I don't have a set. I don't have side P. Angle Q, side Q. I don't have a set. I don't have the angle. Angle R, side R. I don't have the angle. If you don't have a set, then this is going to happen. It's not going to work for you. You have to have a complete set. So, if you don't have the set, the triangle is still solvable. It's side angle side. It's solvable. We just need a different rule. So I'm going to write the rule up here. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to write down the equation I would use for this problem, because the law of cosines is one of those things that if you try to memorize the letters, it's way harder than just memorizing how it works. So I'm going to just show you how it works so you see the pattern, and then you don't have to worry about memorizing. It's 3 different laws. The law of cosines is 3 different laws, and it gets really confusing. So it's easier just to memorize the pattern. So here's what it looks like. P squared equals 10 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 10 times 13 times the cosine of 58. Now don't panic, just write that down.
Oh, so you just multiply by 2. That makes sense.
It's very, very easy
That actually makes sense.
once you've looked at it a couple of times.
So that's all you have to put in the
So
calculator?
that's what's going to go in the
I
calculator.
swear that actually makes sense.
So we write it down. Everybody write it down. And then let's talk about the law. And then we're going to try another one over here. All right? Now, let's talk about this, though. That is the law of cosines. How many angles are in that law? 1. And notice that it's on this very end, right? Now, in our problem, that is angle P. Notice that on the other end of the problem is P squared, all by itself. So the law of cosines always has one thing over here all by itself, and the thing that's over here is the side across from the angle that you're using. You're only going to use one angle in the law of cosines. So whatever angle you're using over here is its side. Now notice, what's all this junk in the middle? It's just the other 2 sides, right? So it's one of the sides squared plus the other side squared minus 2, that's in the formula. That 2 will always be there. And then 10, 13. So, just to show you how simple this is, here's a triangle. This is a law of cosines triangle. So I want to know what x squared is. So here's x squared right across from the 42. So what am I gonna write? What's x squared gonna equal?
15 squared.
15 squared plus 16 squared
Minus 2 times.
minus 2, 15, 16, cosine 42. That's it. That's how the law of cosines works. Now, I don't expect you to have it memorized right now. You need to know it. And no one's ever going to say to you, write the law of cosines. You're just going to have to be able to use it just like you use the law of sines. Ike?
What's that last one, the random example?
What's what?
What's that last one, like the random example?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Just an example of.
This is just an example. Has nothing to do with that problem. I just wanted to show you how it works again in another example. We're doing this one. This is our problem right here. All right, now, Jalen Grant, the phone man, said, is that what I type into my calculator? And the answer is yes. You don't have to do any cross multiplying or anything. You just type that in one long line. So 10 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 10 times 13 times cosine 58 equals. Did you get like 131?
Yeah, then you can just square root it.
Then you gotta square root it. That's the tricky part. Remember, that's p squared. That's the law. It's p
Wait, our
squared.
answer we square.
So now you have to square root it. So side P is 11.46. Remember, the formula is a p squared.
Did we have to do the law of sines? Did you do the law of sines?
Now, do I have enough information to go back to the law of sines?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I can say
Yes, sir.
sine 58 over 11.46. See, guys? See what you've got now?
Is this what you meant? Like it was 3?
Uh-huh. Yep. Sine 58 over 11.46 equals sine r over 10.
Yeah, square.
So what do? Cross multiply. So 11.46 sine r equals 10 sine 58. Now remember, this is what you're solving for. So what are you going to divide by? 11.46. So sine r equals 10 sine 58 over 11.46. Now, are you going to type that into your calculator? No, you're not. This is a sine, so you need to second sign it. So you're going to type second sine 10 sine 58 over 11.46. And that will give you angle R. Guess what? Oh yeah, we'll always get an answer to this problem. It was side angle side, so we'll get an answer. But I typed it in wrong, so I didn't. But I did this time. Did you get 47.73?
Subtract it by 180.
Now you're still missing an angle. Any thoughts on how we might get that one? Add them up and subtract from 180. Could you do the law of sines? Absolutely, but why would you, right? We could do the law of sines again, but I don't want to do that. I'm just going to add them up and subtract from 180. Did you get 74.23? Or 27, I mean? Now, a little built-in check before we do another example. This is your first one, although some of it's we've done before, but that law of cosines is a little confusing. But a little check you have is, does it make sense to you that that would be the smallest side? Think about what you learned in geometry.
So the smallest.
The smallest side gets the smallest angle, and the biggest side gets the biggest angle, right? So if you ever do one of these and it doesn't work out that way, you've messed up and you need to go back and redo it. Okay? That's an awesome problem. You have to know everything to do that one. Good work. Okay, let's try the next one. You guys have taken so many breaks, you don't need another
We
break.
really haven't.
You have flex, you have lunch, you have passing periods.
Lunch is 35 minutes.
Yeah, we did not have.
An hour, 65 minutes per day is not enough time for break.
Is it 2 hours and 5 minutes?
An hour, 5 minutes. Hour, 5 minutes. Yeah. When I say an hour, 65 minutes.
All right, let's take a look at this one. Now, it's side, 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 so it's solvable. We're going to be able to solve it. So the question you have to answer is, am I going to do this with the law of sines, or am I going to do it with the law of cosines? It's going to have to be cosines, because remember, to use the law of sines, you have to have an angle on its side, and you don't have that. So we're going to do the law of cosines. And what I very often do, I haven't done it in this problem, but what I'll do maybe on a test is ask you to find the smallest angle, for example. So you got to look at that and say, okay, which one of those is going to be the smallest one? C, right? Would you agree C is going to be the smallest? It's across from the smallest side. So we're going to find angle C. Now remember what that law looks like. I erased it. But there's only one angle in it, and I'm telling you it's C this time. So what is going to be on the other side over here all by
10
itself?
squared.
10 squared. Whatever the angle is on this end, the side is squared on the other end. Then what's all the stuff in the middle?
14 squared.
Well, it'll be these two sides, right? And the order doesn't matter. So 14 squared plus 12 squared minus, always minus, 2 times 12 and 14. And again, the order doesn't matter. For the 12 and 14, the order doesn't matter. Okay, does everybody have that written down? Now this one is harder to type in on the calculator. So your big kids, your different levels of calculator proficiency, however you type it in is fine as long as you get the right answer. I'm going to suggest that what you do is go ahead and work it all out. So we have 100, 196, 144 minus, not that, 12 times 14 times 2, 336 cosine C. When the variable is in the equation somewhere, it's a little harder. So this is just my suggestion is, you just go ahead and square everything and multiply it all together. Now, I'm going to add these two together. So what do I get when I add those? I should be able to do that. 340. Biggest red flag ever. These do not subtract. This one is hooked to a cosine. Those are not like terms. Don't combine them. So what are we going to do? Subtract the 340. So negative 240 equals negative 336 cosine. divide by the 336 negative. So cosine C equals that fraction. I'll drop the negatives since they're both negative. I'll drop them. Now, don't type that in on the calculator. That's not going to give you the right answer. You have to second cosine it. That's exactly right. Kids, in order to get the angle, in order to get just C, not cosine C, just C, you need to second cosine it. So second cosine 240 divided by 336. I got 44.42. Is that what you got? Now, it is possible to type this all in at once, but you have to be really careful about how you do it. So unless you're getting 44.42, why don't you go through the steps? It's just easier to make sure we get it right. So if the question said, find the smallest angle, we're done. But what if it said, find the rest of the angles?
We could do some.
Now we can do the law of sines, right? So we'll say sine 44.42 over 10 equals sine A over 12, maybe? Is that okay with everybody? Kennedy? Is that all right? Okay, you want to put your head up for me?
Do I want to?
I know you don't want to, but I'm telling you to. Okay, I've already had enough shock for the day with a phone out in class. I don't need heads down on desks. All right, so here we go. 10 sine A equals 12 sine 44.42. Divide by 10. Now, I'm back where I was a minute ago. I'm running out of room here. I have sine A equal to this fraction. Do not type that in. You have to type second sine. So second sine. $57.13. Okay? Now what? Add the two together. $78.45 is the missing one. And you have solved the triangle. Okay. All right, we got one more, it looks like. One more, let's see what this one looks like. So, when we get around to taking our test over this, these problems are all going to be mixed up. It's not going to say use the law of sines, use the law of cosines. They're all going to be mixed up. So when you get this and it says solve the triangle, the first thing you're going to do is say to yourself, do I have a set? Do you have an angle and a side? If the answer is yes, you're going to jump in with the law of sines. If the answer is no, you're going to have to jump in with the law of cosines. Remembering that the law of cosines uses one angle, and the only angle you have is 104, you know you're going to have a cosine 104 on that end of the equation. That means what's going to be over here?
E squared.
E squared. The side that goes with the angle is over here all by itself. It's the equals. And then what's going to be all the stuff in the middle?
12 squared plus
12 squared plus
16
16 squared minus 2 times 12 times 16. That's exactly right. That's the way the law of cosines works. That's easy. Once you get the pattern, that's easy. Now, since the variable is over here all by itself, if you want to just type all that in, you can. You can also do it each piece like we did before, but since it's over here, you can just type all that in one big thing, if you want to. Did you get a great big number like 492? Now remember though, that's e squared. So we got to square root that guy. And so e is 22.20. Does anybody have a question so far? Because we need to get that number right. Okay, everybody's got 22.20? Don't forget, when you type all that in, you have to square root. You have to square root it. Now what? Now we can do the law of sines. So sine 104 over 22.20 equals sine f over 12. Does that make sense to everybody? That doesn't make sense? It's the law of sines. Sine 104 over 22 equals sine f over 12. Law of sines. And the reason we can now do the law of sines is because we have a match, right? We have a set, angle and side, E and E. You can't do the law of sines till you have that. All right, so now what? Cross multiply? Now remember, this is your variable. This is what you're solving for. So what are you going to divide by? 22.2. Please don't divide by the wrong thing. You have to divide by the 22.20 in order to get the sign of f by itself. But now what am I going to caution you? You got a second sign. Boys and girls, you're not finding the sign. The sign is a decimal. You want a 52.9 degrees. You want an angle measure. So the only way to get that is to second sign. So second sign, 12 sine 104 divided by 22.2. Did you get 31.63? Yes. And then, how do I find my last answer? Add those up. And subtract from 180. I got 44.37. And the triangle is solved. I don't see you tomorrow. But guess what's gonna happen the next day? We're going to have a quiz. Yeah, I'm telling you right now what it's gonna look like.
Write it down.
It's gonna look like something like this. And you're gonna have to find side B, side A, and angle B. So what's probably the first thing you're going to do? You probably, well, it wouldn't matter, but I'd probably find angle B first. That's guaranteed points. Those are gimmies, because you know you're gonna add them up and subtract from 180. So that's gonna be what? What is that, 81? So this is gonna be this is gonna be 99? Is that right?
Yeah.
Now what?
Law of Cosines.
Now look. See how we have a pair? So you'll set up sine 23 over 16 equals sine 58 over A, for example. We'll cross multiply. And I'll divide by sine 23. Now, am I gonna have to second sign this one? No, it's A, right? It's A. I'm just gonna do 16 sine 58 over sine 23, and that will be the answer for that part. I got, what is that, A? I got 34.73. We are having a quiz next time. I'm telling you what's on it. We're practicing. Now, we aren't quite done. I still need B. So I gotta redo it with the law of sines. Sine 99 over B equals sine 23 over 16. So B sine 23 equals 16 sine 99. So B equals 16 sine 99 divided by sine 23. And put it in the calculator. And I got 40.44. And I am finished. Notice for the quiz next time, what law am I practicing? Just the sign, the law of sines. We had that for a couple days now. So the next quiz is going to be a problem like that one that's going to require you to use the law of sines. Okay? Then we'll probably have one more quiz after that. That will be law of cosines, and then we'll be ready. There actually is. Kennedy's asking a great question. She said, oh my gosh, Mrs. Ford, we have a law of sines, now we have a law of cosines. Is there a law of tangents? And the answer is yes. But listen, we don't need it, because every triangle is solvable using either the law of sines or the law of cosines. So there is no need to have another one.
Is tangent, what is it? Is it for like two angles, the side or two?